what is the best VR headset that you can get right now, and what are some must-know things before you buy one. Now make sure you destroy that like button on your way in, and let's dive right into it. To start off, there are three main categories that we can put these VR headsets into, that being standalone, console, and PC VR. So let's start with the standalone VR headsets. First of all, a headset within the standalone category means that it has all the computing power built into the headset itself, so you don't need any external sources like a PlayStation 5 or a buffed PC to be able to run it, with the first example being the Quest 2. This is the most sold VR headset out right now, and it is clear to see why. Because it rocks an amazing spec sheet, with almost the highest resolution on the market, and with a refresh rate that can go all the way from 60Hz up to 120Hz. It also includes the powerful Snapdragon XR2 chip and also inside-out tracking, meaning you don't need external sensors anymore to track your VR headset and controllers. But it is not just the hardware that makes this headset so popular, because Meta is pushing the software to its ultimate limit, with every month a new big update unlocking some new features, from hand tracking, pass-through, to even a keyboard integration. But do keep in mind that this headset is already out for over 2 years. Especially for those people who are still looking to buy their first one, because Meta recently made some big changes regarding the price of the headset. Where the base model used to come in at $300, they now bumped up the price all the way to $400.
Stop it. Get some help.
So if you don't own a Quest 2 yet, there are also some other options. One of which is the newcomer, known as the Pico 4. This headset quickly became the successor of the Neo 3 Link, but on paper, it completely blows the competition out of its way, being better on almost every single spec compared to the Quest 2, with some major upgrades, like an Elite strap directly being included in the box, which creates a way better weight distribution so that your headset doesn't feel front heavy. It also includes a bigger field of view and a higher resolution. But Pico didn't stop there, because one of its biggest features is that it has color pass-through, meaning you don't have to see your surroundings anymore in a low resolution black and white. Even the controllers got an upgrade so that the tracking ring is spaced on the outside, making it less likely for you to bump them into each other. And to make it even better, thanks to the price increase of the Quest 2, the Pico 4 is actually the cheaper headset.
Nice.
But that might leave you the question, why not get a Pico 4 over a Quest 2? Because although on paper, the hardware of the Pico 4 is much better, it is the software where it takes a big hit. Because this headset hasn't been on the market that long, meaning some big features and updates are not available yet. And the same goes for the game library, where the Quest 2 library has some major exclusive titles. This is not there for Pico. So if you are looking for a new standalone headset right now, it completely will depend on your needs. If you care more about the hardware and specs, you should go for the Pico 4. Whereas software and games are your priority, the Quest 2 would be a much better option. But do keep in mind that Meta announced its successor, known as the Quest 3, in 2023, so it might be worth waiting just a little longer. Lastly, it is also important to know that both these headsets are capable of playing PC VR as well, because you can wirelessly connect them to your computer, making them a hybrid VR headset. But that gets us to the next category, known as console VR. In it, we have the PlayStation VR and its successor, the PlayStation VR 2. This category requires you to have a console to be able to run your headset. And at the moment, PlayStation is the only one capable of doing it. And although Xbox and Switch have dipped their toes into VR, it is still Sony who is the only one truly pushing it. With their first VR headset, known as the PlayStation VR, releasing all the way back in 2016. This makes the headset almost 7 years old. And although PlayStation had one of the most amazing exclusive VR games, it is the lack of competition of other companies that gave it the reason to wait so long for its successor. Because no other leaders in the gaming space actually took the effort to make this a reality. So PlayStation had the complete playing field to themselves. But if you are looking for a new VR headset, I would definitely not recommend getting the old PlayStation VR. Not only is the hardware highly outdated, it is also thanks to its successor that is not backwards compatible. That means your games cannot be put over to your next VR headset. But by looking more in detail, it is also clear that the PlayStation VR 2 is so much better that it almost doubles every single spec possible. From the resolution to the single cable to even things like eye tracking and foveated rendering, and some crazy features like haptic feedback being built into the headset itself. But there are two major downsides. The first one being that it still requires a cable to go from your headset to your PlayStation 5, making it not wireless. And secondly is the price, coming in at a total of $550. Making it more expensive than the actual console itself. That is, of course, if you can get your hands on it. So in case you are a big PlayStation fan who already owns the newest console and can't wait to play these insane Sony exclusive titles like Horizon Call of the Mountain, then this headset might be worth it for you. But in any other scenario, I would definitely not recommend the first generation and rather look for a standalone headset. But on Sony's front, since there is still no competition in sight, I'm sure they will still be selling these like hotcakes. That gets us to PSVR. Now in this category, we are talking about headsets that require a buff gaming PC to be able to run your games. And although the Quest 2 and Pico 4 are capable of doing this wirelessly as well, it is these advanced PSVR headsets that can push the quality of what is possible in VR even further. Now in this category, we have the Valve Index, the Rift S, and the Varjo Aero. Although there are many others like Pimax, 5, and HP Reverb G2. These are one of the most common ones you will see around. Starting off with the Valve Index. This has been the staple of PSVR headsets for a very long time, giving you an excellent balance of quality, performance, and comfort. One of its major pros is its knuckle controllers, where you completely can let go of them as if you're throwing a real object, but thanks to the knuckle grips, they will stay stuck to your hand. It also makes use of these external trackers, making it a lot more accurate compared to other headsets, but with the inconvenience that it is not easy to set up. But although this has been the king of PSVR for many years, it does start to age over time because its resolution is now below that of the Quest 2. And although it still has some superior features like a bigger field of view or the built-in microphones, it still has the same price of all those years ago, coming in at a whopping $1,000. And this makes it almost impossible to recommend to anyone looking to buy a new headset. But then we have the Rift S, which was released simultaneously with the Quest, but sadly, Meta completely abandoned it very quickly after. This is because they shifted their business more towards the standalone market instead of PSVR. Even more so once they figured out a way to wirelessly connect your Quest 2 to your computer. And because they neglected the Rift S quickly, the software is also not as up to date as we see in their other headsets. But that doesn't mean that PSVR is completely dead. Although the major shift is focused on the standalone market, with some of its share still going over to console, there is still one big portion left here, and that is for the VR enthusiasts. For those who want to experience the maximum that is possible with today's technology, but also those who have very deep pockets. Take for example the Varjo Aero, which gives you the sharpest, most immersive image ever created on a VR headset, making use of a new type of lens so that you have less glares and God rays. Of course, it also includes automatic IPD and eye tracking as well, but these insane features come at a hefty price tag, making the headset alone already cost over $2,000.
What? What the
Not even including the base stations and controllers that you will need to use this headset. But this is similar to what we see in the Quest Pro. Although that is a standalone headset, it is still not focused to your average consumer, because both are going for the cutting edge technology while suffering in the cost department. But at the end of the day, if you are looking to buy a new VR headset right now, ask yourself the question into what category you are looking for. Most likely, you will end up with a standalone headset that has hybrid functions if you want to, and either going for the Quest 2 or Pico 4, but for some, it might be waiting for that Quest 2 successor. But let me know what headset you would want the most, and make sure you don't miss the biggest news by checking out the video you see on screen right now. And of course, stay awesome.